My dear students, hope you all are fine. Great. Let's start with an important topic, decimals. Now let's see what are decimals. Okay. Decimals are one of the types of numbers which has a whole number. Okay. This is one part, and the fractional part. You know, the fractional part is also called as what? It is also called as decimal part, which is separated by a decimal point. Now let's take one example. 35.312. Now when you see this, there are two parts in decimal number, correct? So this is called as what? Whole number, and this is called as fractional part. It is also called as what? Decimal part. Okay. Now this particular point is called as decimal point. I hope you understood till here. Okay. Now let's see table. What do you mean by the word table? The place or the position. Now this is your decimal point. Towards the left hand side, what we usually write in normal numbers? Ones, tens, hundreds, and so on. So this is ones, tens, hundreds. Are you understanding? Now this is called as what? Decimal point. Towards the right hand side, what we usually write? Now we are going to write tenth, hundredth, thousandth. What we should write? Thousandth. It means what it is? 1 by 10, 1 by 100, 1 by 1000. So this particular table we have to remember if we want to score full marks in the chapter decimal numbers or decimals. Are you understanding? This point is called as decimal point. Now when you see, this is your left hand side, and after decimal point it is called as what? Right hand side. Now when you see the left hand side, what you see? Ones, tens, hundreds. It means this is 10 times bigger. It means what? 10 times bigger. And when you see towards the right hand side, 1 by 10, 1 by 100, 1 by 1000. So this is 10 times smaller. It means what? As we move, understand this part, very important. As we move towards right, the decimal place value becomes smaller, and as we move towards left, the place value becomes higher. So this particular table one should remember to understand the two places or the two types of numbers. One is what? The whole number. The other one is what? The fractional part. The fractional part is also called as decimal part. So the whole number is what? 35, and the decimal part or the fractional. Why do we use this word fraction? Because 3, 1, 2. When we see the table, towards the right hand side of the decimal point, what we have? 1 by 10, 1 by 100, 1 by 1000. It means towards the right hand side of the decimal point, As we move towards the right, the decimal place value becomes smaller, and as we move towards left, the decimal place value becomes what? The place value becomes higher. So I hope you understood what are decimals and what are the types of numbers. Those are whole numbers and fractional part. And very important subtopic today we have seen, that is place value chart of decimal. So this is what? This is the place value chart of decimals. Now let's switch to the next page. How to read the decimal numbers. How to read the decimal numbers? Let's see. For example, they have given 0.01, 0.001, 1.987, and the last one is 0.18. How to read? The question will be usually what? Read the following decimal numbers. But see, usually we have to read. Read means write in words. So how will you write? Tell me. 0.01. Next, 0.001. Next, 1 point. Now usually what we write or how we read? 1.987. It is incorrect, because when you move towards the right side of the decimal place, these are called as what? Parts. These are called as fractional parts. So this is not a number. These are parts. So how should you read? 9, 8, 7. But this should be read if the digits are after, that is towards the right side of the decimal point. So 1.987. Now when you see this particular sum, can you see this star? When you see this particular sum, in this, if a number has only one decimal part, can you see? There is one decimal point, and after that you have only one part, that is decimal part. So it is better. What you should do? You can write 0.18. It means if a number has only decimal part, it is better to put a 0 before the decimal point. Now you can read the decimal number. Yes, 0.18. You should not read it as 0.18. How will you read? You have to read it as 0.18. So this is one type of reading. First, second, third, fourth. Now usually there are two ways. How many ways? Two ways to read decimal numbers. But you can use any one method to learn and understand. Now let's see one example. How will you read 23.18? Correct? 23.18. So first method, how you are going to write? 23.18. Now this is the first way of reading decimal number. Now the second way is what? 23 and 18 hundredth. How will you read? 23 and 18 hundredth. Now let's see how. I'll show you the table for this second way of reading. Table for this. Let's see. What is this? Decimal point, correct? This is called as decimal point. What about this? Ones. Ones means you will write in this way. Tens, hundreds, okay? Hundreds. So how will you write? Tens, and this is hundreds. Now when you move towards the right side of the decimal point, what are you going to write? Tenth, hundredth, and so on, thousandth. So this is 1 by 10th, 1 by 100. Now if you want to place or position this particular decimal number in this table, how are you going to do? First write the point over here, This is read as what? A whole number. So 23. 23. And what is this? These are parts, fractional parts. So 1800th. How will you write 1800th? 1800, that is 23.18. So this is the second way of reading the decimal numbers. But if you want, you can stick to the first method or first way of reading, like 0.01, 0.001, 1.987, and in this you have only decimal part. So you can include 10, that is a whole number. And what are whole numbers? Whole numbers are nothing but counting numbers including 0 are called as whole numbers. Okay, so 0.18. And how to read the decimal number? If you should not read it as 23.18. You have to read it as what? 23.18. So in this way we have learned decimals, introduction of decimals, two separate places like whole number part and fractional part, and in between you will always have one decimal point. And after that, the most important thing we learned today is the table, the place value table of decimals. So my dear students, in case of queries in any sums, please feel free to clear the doubts through comment box, or you can even reach me through email ID. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.